That is not Secretary Clinton's view. And in fact, when she was Secretary of State, she pushed that technology onto countries around the world. Now, everybody here knows a profound lesson of American history, the most important lesson that we can learn, and that is that real change never takes place from the top on down. It always takes place from the bottom on up. And that is the history of America. When millions of people stand up and fight back and demand change, the people will not be defeated. Think about 100 years ago. Workers working 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. Children working in factories, working in the fields, and workers said, sorry, we are not beasts of burden. We are entitled to dignity and respect. We are going to form trade unions. Think about 150 years ago when the African American community and their allies said that in America the day will come when we will end racism and bigotry. And millions of people stood up. Some died, some went to jail, some were beaten. But they said, we are going to change America away from racism. Brothers and sisters, think about less than 100 years ago, women in America did not have the right to vote, did not have the right to get the education or jobs they wanted. But women stood up. And women in America told the establishment, don't define us. Don't tell us that our only function in life is to stay home and have babies. We want more. And millions of women stood up, and with their male allies, they changed the system. If we were here 10 years ago, no time at all, from an historical perspective, and somebody jumps up and says, you know, Bernie, I think that gay marriage will be made legal in every state in this country by the year 2015, the person next to her would have said, you are nuts, ain't gonna happen. But what happened is the gay community and their straight allies stood up and fought back. They stood up and they fought back, and they said that in America, people should have the right to love whoever they want, regardless of their gender. If we were here 5 years ago and somebody said, Bernie, this federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, totally inadequate, we got to make it $15 an hour, the person next to them would have said, $15 an hour, you want to double the minimum wage? You are crazy. Can't happen. You're thinking too big. But you know what happened? People in the fast food industry, in McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, went out on strike. They stood up and they fought back and they said, we cannot live on $15 an hour. And then what happened? Seattle, LA, San Francisco, $15 an hour. California, New York, $15 an hour. That is how change takes place. Now, what the establishment and what the media want you to believe, that real change is impossible. No. We cannot do what every other major country on earth does and guarantee health care to all people. We can't do that. Oh, no, 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 no. We cannot have paid family and medical leave for our people. We can't do that. too hard. No, no, no. In this great country, we cannot rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, create millions of jobs. Oh, no, no, it's too hard. The powers that be are too powerful. We cannot take on the billionaire class and end the grotesque level of income and wealth inequality that exists. We can't do it. No, no. Oh, no, you're dreaming. You're dreaming if you think we can make public colleges and universities tuition free. Can't happen. Too radical an idea. Oh, no, no, no. The fossil fuel industry, too powerful. We can't transform our energy system and lead the world in combating climate change. Too powerful. Oh, no, no, no. Chamber of Commerce, too powerful. We can't provide equal wages for equal work for our women. No, no. Can't be done. And what the establishment tells you is think small. But we have a different view. And all over this country, people are looking at the world very differently. And they are saying, yeah, you know what? In America, we actually can have an economy that works for all of us, not the 1%. Actually, in America, we can have a vibrant democracy, one person, one vote, not a nation in which billionaires are buying elections. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can create a nation and a government that works for all of us, not just the people on top. And that, brothers and sisters, is what this campaign is all about. Now this campaign is taking on the financial establishment. We're taking on corporate America. We're taking on the Democratic political establishment. We're taking on the corporate media because the corporate media is not particularly interested in the issues facing working families. And yet, we're taking on the most powerful political organization in America, the Clinton organization that elected a president twice. And yet, despite all of that, we have now won 18 state primaries and caucuses. We believe that we have a very good chance, can't predict the future, but we think we have a very good chance to win a majority of the states yet to vote, including right now, we are at about 45.5% of the pledged delegates, the delegates actually elected by the people in the states. We think that if we do well in the remaining states, and if we do very, very well in the largest state in this country, California, we have a chance. It's an uphill struggle. We have a chance to end up with a majority of the pledged delegates. And if we do that, I think you are looking at the Democratic nominee for president. On June 7th, there is going to be a primary here, which will be the most important primary in this whole nominating process. More delegates will be at stake by far than in any other state. We have found throughout this campaign that we do well when the voter turnout is high. Let us make certain that on June 7th, California has the biggest voter turnout in the history of the state for a Democratic primary. Let us make certain that this great state, one of the leading progressive states in America, makes it clear to the world that they want a political revolution. Thank you all very much.
All right, everybody, that was Bernie Sanders.
Why are you not endorsing Donald Trump?
Listen, I'm very glad to be back in the Senate. I'm very glad to be rolling up my sleeves and tackling the issues that were the heart of our presidential campaign. We went 13 months crisscrossing the country and saw incredible energy, incredible passion all across the country. Ended up earning over 7 million votes nationwide, winning 12 states, winning nearly 600 delegates. But alas, it wasn't enough. We came up short and didn't prevail. That was not the outcome I had hoped for. It was not the outcome that many others had hoped for. But at the end of the day, in our democratic process, the people decide. For me, what is important is that the movement continues. This movement from the people, this battle is about a lot more than one election cycle or one candidate. It is about principles that are eternal. It is about the free market principles that turned America into a beacon of hope and opportunity from people from all across the world. It's about the constitutional liberties that protect the fundamental rights of every American. All across this country, people are hungry for change. They recognize that the path we're on, it isn't working and people are suffering. This election cycle should be a wake-up call to Washington, D.C. The frustration, the volcanic anger with Washington was echoed throughout this election. My priorities, had I been elected president, were to fight for jobs and freedom and security. I think those are the priorities of the American people. Instead, I will continue fighting for those priorities, jobs and freedom and security, from the United States Senate, fighting to reduce the burdens of Washington on small businesses to protect the liberties of every American.
So why are you not? So why is
you endorse Donald Trump eventually, or you rule that out entirely?
You know, we suspended our campaign 1 week ago today. There are 2.5 months until the Republican convention, 6 months until the general election. There will be plenty of time for voters to make the determination who they're going to support. What I am interested in supporting are free market principles and the constitutional liberties of Americans. And I think what every voter is going to be doing is listening to the candidates, listening to what they support, and assessing them on their merits. That is the role of the voters.
Senator, do you still think that?
Senator Cruz, you branded yourself as an outsider, and now you're back here. How do you work with the Senate after branding yourself that way?
Listen, from the first day I was elected to the Senate, my priority has been fighting for the 27 million Texans who I represent. I'm going to continue fighting for the American people, and if fighting for the American people makes you an outsider in the Senate, then I will happily remain an outsider, because, at least to date, Congress, both parties, both houses, far too often hasn't been listening to the American people. That is the frustration. This town, too many elected officials listen to big money and special interests and lobbyists. The rich get richer. Under Barack Obama, today the top 1% earn a higher share of our income than any year since 1928. Big government does great for the rich. But those who are struggling, the working men and women, their lives have gotten harder. The people who I am fighting for our single moms and young people and Hispanics and African Americans. It's the truck drivers and the welders and the coal miners. It's the farmers and ranchers. It's the people who've been left behind. And so what I have done every day in the Senate and every day on the campaign trail as a candidate for president has been to fight for the working men and women of this country, to fight so we can bring back to America millions and millions of new high-paying jobs, raise wages, so that working men and women can make ends meet.
Senator, a question about your work in the Senate, please.
We're looking for your guidance. Is there anything Donald Trump can say or do to earn your support? And would you be okay with your supporters choosing to vote for him in the fall?
You know, I trust the people. The great thing about our democratic republic is that authority, sovereignty, rests in we the people. We just had a long, drawn-out battle, a long, drawn-out primary. And going forward from now until November, now until the convention, and then now until November, it will be incumbent on the candidates in this race to make the case to the people that they will fight for them. And I've got a great deal of faith. I've got a great deal of faith in the American people that at the end of the day, they're going to assess these candidates and come to the right decision.
Senator, for your work in the Senate, Senator.
I'm sorry?
Are you ruling out the possibility of a third party?
I have no interest in a third
Mr.
party.
Senator,
Do you think that Donald Trump,
Senators
do you think
come
that,
back to the Senate after running for president unsuccessfully used words like they were humbled. Several Democrats today said we haven't heard any humility from Ted Cruz. Do you feel humbled?
Well, I would say it is hardly news to have Senate Democrats attacking me. And I suspect that's not going to go away anytime soon. Listen, I am certainly disappointed with the outcome. That I disappointed so many millions of grassroots activists across this country. I mean, this has been an amazing journey. I have to tell you, I am so privileged and so humbled to have had the opportunity to do this, to have had the opportunity to run for president, to travel to virtually every state in the union, to visit with thousands and tens of thousands of men and women across this country, to shake their hands, to hug their necks. Every day on the campaign trail, some of you spent a lot of days on the campaign trail. Every day on the campaign trail, I was inspired. I was inspired by the Americans who are forgotten by Washington, forgotten by much of the news media, but the Americans who are struggling and believe in this nation. And if you want to know my greatest disappointment is that I wasn't able to win for them. That I came up short and disappointed their efforts, their time, their passion. That was incredible to see. It's incredible to be a part of, but importantly, that movement, that energy, that passion is going to continue. The conservative movement, I believe, will only continue to get stronger. I recognize a lot of folks in the media, a lot of folks in the Washington are eager to write the epitaph for the conservative movement. And I will say, I believe that the American people are fed up with the disasters of the Obama-Clinton economy. And this movement will continue, and I look forward to pressing in the United States Senate for the very same things that I was pressing for on the campaign trail: jobs and freedom and security, lifting the burdens of Washington on small businesses and those who are struggling.
do you think that it was a mistake in retrospect to call Donald Trump terrific early in the campaign, or was there anything else he could have done to prevent this campaign?
I'm not interested in Monday morning quarterbacking. What I can tell you is it was a long and vigorous campaign. We put our all into it. We left it all on the field. Heidi and I and the girls, we campaigned as hard as we physically could. And the support and energy and passion we saw from the people, I've never seen anything like it. And it gives me great faith in this country. It is why I am fighting. It is why I'm working. It's what I intend to continue working for.
Would you be open to being in signing day? Senator Cruz.
Senator Cruz, can you please explain what you're talking to today with Glenn Beck in regards to perhaps re-entering the race if circumstances change? Is there a second act?
Listen. Listen, we have suspended the campaign. We've suspended the campaign because I can see no viable path to victory. Of course, if that changed, we would reconsider things. But let's be clear, we're not going to win Nebraska today. There should be no mystery, no excitement in that. We've withdrawn from the campaign, and it is in the hands of the voters. If circumstances change, we will always assess change circumstances. But I appreciate the eagerness and excitement of all the folks in the media to see me back in the ring. But you may have to wait a little bit longer for that.
Would you be open to meeting with running mate?
Will you meet with Trump?
Will you meet with
Senator, are you talking to Trump?